YouTube, what's going on? Dustwin here, and today I just want to talk to you about DDDs, or different dimension demons as they're called. This is an exclusive OCG deck now. No clue when they're coming to TCG, but you know, when they do come to TCG, they're just probably going to wreck, because this is one of the only decks that has just about everything. It has your fusion, it has your synchro, it has your XYZ. One thing it doesn't have is a ritual. And then it has pendulums and everything like that. So that's why I find this deck to be a very unique deck and archetype. So I just want to talk about it. You know, what can it do? Can it be good when it comes out TCG format stuff? Because it's pretty much already good right now. You know, Dueling Network and Dev Pro. So yeah, let's get into that, shall we? First, gotta drink my water because I'm a thirsty ass white boy. Okay, so for those wondering, what's a DDD? What does it do? You know, everything like that. To answer your question, a DDD stands for Different Dimension Demon, which I actually kind of like that name. Hope Konami keeps that, which they probably won't when it comes to TCG. But, you know, and what it does is it just does a lot. I mean, it can pendulum summon, it can special summon, it can do pretty much anything you need it to do. And especially with the trap cards and spell cards that it has, which is the Covenant. There's Covenant Inferno Gate, Covenant with the Swamp King, and the trap cards Covenant with the Dark Witch. But as far as the monsters go, you know, there are normal monsters that, you know, when they're pendulum summoned, they can pop cards back into your hand or just destroy them. They can, you know, I think one of them is if they battles an extra deck monster, he destroys it. So it's pretty fun deck to play. You know, especially on like Dev Pro and Dueling Network, whatever your preference is. So yeah, DDs can just wreck. I mean, they're already kind of doing that on, like, you know, Dev Pro or Dueling Network right now. Because, you know, if they get going, we're pendulum summoning and then get their fusions and stuff off, you know, it's kind of hard to slow them down. I mean, it's just kind of an overpowered, you know, deck, and it's already stacked. You know, the monsters and spells, it just stacks the deck up. So it's just kind of saying screw you to, you know, decks. But just a couple of cards. DD Night Howling. For those who don't know what the cards are, I'm just gonna explain them. Then I'll you know, show a couple of them and show a little deck profile I built on Dev Pro about DDs. So yeah. Night Howling is when it's normal summon, you can target one DD monster in your graveyard. Special summon it, but its attacks and effects. Its attack becomes 0, and you take 1,000 damage. So yeah, that's a level 3 tuner of the deck. So, you know, you can use that to get the synchro of the deck, which I believe is Alexander. So, you know, you can use it to get any DD from a level like 7 to whatever, and, you know, synchro into a level 10 if you want to, since Howling's already a level 3 tuner. So this deck just has a lot of XYZs and fusions into it as well, with just Night Howling and other DD monsters that you have in your graveyard, as well as the one Covenant card that just allows you to fusion summon one Fiend type monster, which I believe that one is Swamp King. During your main phase, you can fusion summon one Fiend type monster using monsters from your hand or side of the field as fusion monsters. So, you know, that works for any Fiend fusion, which I don't know if I don't think there's that many Fiend fusions. So it's mainly just used for the DD fusion, which is Tamusian Inferno King, or yeah, Overlord, or whatever his name is. So yeah, you can use that with any, you know, deck that involves fusioning fiends. Don't think there's too many of them, but, you know, still, I guess it's a trap card that allows you to do that's better than none. The downside about the Covenant cards, though, is you take 1,000 damage during your opponent's standby phase, or during each of your standby phases, you take 1,000 damage, which is the downside to all Covenant cards. But there is one DD that can stop it, and that is Leonidas, the Rebellious Lord, which is the wicked good card because it's a pendulum monster, but it's also the monster that saves you. If it's in your pendulum zone when you take damage from a card effect, except in the damage step, you can destroy that card in your pendulum zone and increase your life points by the amount you took, or its monster's effect, like if you take from one of Covenants, is you know, when you take it, you special summon him and regain that 1,000 you took, and as long as he's on the field, you take no damage from your Covenant cards. So, and overall, DDs are just pretty stacked right now, and then, you know, if they come out in TCG and then get support later on, they'll just be even more stacked. But as of now, you know, playing them on Dev Pro and Dueling Network, they're just pretty stacked as it is. So yeah, enough of me talking about it. I'm just gonna show you guys a little profile that I made and just threw together on Dev Pro and just talk a little bit more about them. So yeah, let's get into that. All right, so this is just a little DD deck that I kind of just threw together for the purpose of this video. It doesn't necessarily include all of the monsters. Some of them I didn't put, and I'll talk about some of the ones I didn't put and explain them. But just gonna go over some of their effects and everything. So yeah, let's get into it. First monster is DDD Kaiser the Conqueror. Now, what his effect is when he's pendulum summoned, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls until the end of the turn. Once per turn during your main phase 1 of this card was pendulum summon, you can target 1 or 2 spell cards you're in your card zone, destroy them, and this card gains an additional attack. So basically what he does is if you know, you have Covenant cards on the field and you want to destroy them and not take the 1,000 life points, I destroy them, and then that card can attack 3 times and deal 20 and attack with 2,800. So a good beater for that. And then next tuner, which is DD Night Howling. When it's normal summon, target 1 DD monster, special summon, its attacks become 0, and also you take 1,000 damage. And then Lilith, which is her effect is target 1 DD monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, or add 1 face-up DD pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. So basically, you know, like if your Leonidas got destroyed, you can add it to your hand. So next time you have a Covenant card, just, you know, add it to your hand, and when you take damage, special summon and then negate the effects of all of that. 1 Curry Bandit, because mainly some of the DDs you kind of want in your graveyard, and Curry Bandit just allows you to get those Covenant spells and trap cards that you need. Next is Proud Ogre, which has a pendulum effect of once per turn. You can pay 500 life points and target 1 DD monster you control. It gains 500 attack. So good for that. And then its monster effect is when this card's normal summon, you can special summon 1 face-up dark pendulum monster from your extra deck. Its effects are negated. So basically that's saying, you know, you can just special summon another one from your that, you know, pendulum monster that was destroyed and went to your extra deck. The next one is Proud Cavalier, which does the same thing as Ogre, except its monster effect is different. It's when it's normal summon, you can add 1 pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand, and its pendulum effect is a little bit different but similar. As you pay 500 life points and target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, and it loses 500 attack. So they're similar, and they can be used for, you know, pendulum scale or easily pendulum summon, but you mainly don't want that in your pendulum deck. I'll show you the 2 monsters you really want in your pendulum scales. Next is Cerberus. Cerberus' pendulum effect is once per turn you can target 1 DD monster you control. It becomes a level 4. Basically that can be used for the XYZ DD or make a level 4 for Night Howling to synchro into an Alexander, which is a synchro. So yeah, and then these two are the two pendulum monsters you want in their scales because they have a scale of 1 to 10. Only thing bad about them is during, I think, each of your standby phases, their scale increases or decreases by 2. So it'll be 3, 7, and it'll keep decreasing, but eventually it'll scale will equal back out to 1, 10, 1. After, I believe, 5 turns, it'll equal back out. But that's mainly the 2 cards you want in your pendulum scale or pendulum zones, because you can just pendulum summon mainly all of the pendulum. All of the DDs in this deck. And then lastly, we have DDD Leonidas, their rebellious lord. You mainly want 3 of him if you do run, or at least 2 of him, because with the Covenant cards allowing, you take 1,000 damage during your standby phases, he can negate that effect when if you have him in your hand when you take 1,000 damage. Special summon him, then you regain that 1,000 damage, and you no longer take effect damage while he's on the field. So it's good, good using like a burn deck or something like that. Because you won't take any damage, your opponent will take the damage instead. So yeah. And then a couple of cards that I didn't add to this is one is DDD CEO Hell Armageddon. I did not add him to this, but his pendulum effect is once per turn you can target one DD monster you control. It gains 800 attack until the end of the turn. So it has a good pendulum effect. Another one is COO Abyss Ragnarok. Its pendulum effect is when if you special summon a DD monster, except during the damage step, you can target one DD monster in your graveyard. Any battle damage your opponent takes is half for the rest of the turn, and if you do special summon it. So yeah, and then the last one is DDD Pendragon, the Supreme Dragon King. What his effect is, you contribute one Dragon type monster and Fiend type monster from your hand and special summon it. Once per turn, you can discard one card. This card gains 500 attack until the end turn. If then you can destroy one spell or trap card on the field. So it can get rid of any spell or trap card on the field. Your Covenant if you don't want to take damage or opponent. So just good for that. Those are just a couple of the monsters I just threw together for the purpose of the deck, just trying to explain the effects and a little bit how they work and everything. The Covenant cards, this one is Covenant with the Infernal Gate, and what this one does is during your main phase, you can add one DD monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect once per turn. During each of your standby phases, you take 1,000 damage. That's the infect 1,000 damage is on all of them. Then we got Swamp King, which is during your main phase, you can fusion one Fiend type fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or side of the field as fusion materials. If you would fusion summon a DD fusion monster, you can also banish monsters from your graveyard. So basically, you can use this card in any fusion deck that would involve a Fiend. I don't think there's many Fiend fusions, so it's mainly just used for this deck to get the DD fusion. But it's still a good card in general. And then of course 3 MSTs, and then the Covenant of the Dark Witch, which is a very good card because what this card does is you can send one DD or Covenant card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one card in the field, destroy it. And all Fiend monsters during your opponent's turn gain 1,000 attack. So this card can be used in an Arch Fiend deck because during your opponent's turn only, they gain 1,000 attack. So they probably wouldn't be able to attack you, which is good. You just still take 1,000 damage during each of your standby phases. So unless you can, negate that, with a Rebellious Lord or something. But yeah, this card could be used in not just DD, just any Fiend deck in general, because all Fiends gain 1,000 attack. So you can use this in an Arch Fiend deck or something like that. So just wicked good for Fiend. And then DDD Recruit is if your opponent controls a monster and you more monsters than you do, target any number of DD or Covenant cards up to the difference and add them to your hand. So kind of cheap if your opponent has more monsters than you do. So let's say your opponent has 3 to 1, you can draw 2 cards or get 2 Covenant or DD cards from your graveyard and add them to your hand. So it's good for that. And then we have Resource Management, which is shuffle 3 DD monsters from your hand, field, or graveyard, and then add 2 DD cards from your deck. So basically you can add shuffle 3 DD cards from your extra deck or anywhere on the field mainly, and then just add 2. So it's just pretty much shuffle, add. And then another card that works well with this deck is Sinister Yoshio, which is each turn, one level 5 or higher Fiend type monster you control can be normal summoned without tributing. So basically you can normal summon Cavalier, Proud Ogre, or any other level 5 or higher monster, like level 5s or 6 can be normal summoned, and then 7s and 8s can just be tribute summoned with 1, I think. Or just, might just would be normal summoned, just level 5s. But just a wicked good card for this deck because DDDs are all fiends, so you could just instantly normal summon a Proud Ogre or something like that. And yeah. Now for the extra deck, I just added 3 of the XYZs, which is Kaiser the Wave Overlord, which is it requires 2 fiend type monsters, but once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach 1 XYZ8 at the end of the battle phase, or summon as many monsters from your graveyard that were destroyed as possible during this, or as many monsters during this turn. And if you do, take 1,000 damage for each monster. So basically, it's like a vamped up version of Soul Charge monster form. If you have 2 monsters and they get destroyed this turn, activate its effect, so summon them and take 2,000. It's kind of like a vamped up Soul Charge. Then the synchro is Alexander the King. If a DD monster you're normal special summon, except you can add 1 level 4 DD monster from your graveyard, special summon that target. So yeah. And then we have Chaos King. When this card declares an attack, you can switch the attack of all face-up attack and defense. Mainly since it's an all-fiend type deck, Chaos and this card right here, Dark Highlander, work well. Either player can synchro summon once per turn. You can select 1 monster your opponent controls that is equipped with an equipped spell. Destroy that equipped card and inflict 400 damage to your opponent. So yeah. And lastly, the 3 fusions was the DD Temujin, the Raging Inferno King. Yeah. So that's gonna do it for the, I kind of threw this together and just wanted to explain a little bit of it for you guys. I think it's a wicked fun deck to, play around with. So, yeah. Alright guys, so that'll do it for DDDs and what they are and everything. I hope, it's helped, understand DDDs a little bit better and everything like that. So yeah, and also, if you like the video, give me a like and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the video and everything so I can, improve. And also look for tomorrow, Friday, the Secret Forces comes out, so I would definitely have a box opening of that for you guys. So yeah, make sure to check that out. So until next time, Dustwin out.